Hi, it's the Crafty Co, and today we're going to be decorating wooden shapes using acrylic twin markers. These shapes come in lots of different designs and will give you hours of colouring in fun. I'm using the 12 pack, and as they're double-ended, I have 24 different colours. I found this was more than enough for these designs. I love using these acrylic markers because when they're coloured in, it looks like they've been painted. But as the pens have a nice fine tip, it means you can draw around the shapes with ease. Don't press too hard when you're colouring. It only needs a really light touch, and that will help prolong the life of the nib. You'll see here that I'm colouring in the same direction. This will achieve a really neat coverage. You may need to do a couple of layers to get a really good coverage. A top tip is to work on an area that's not directly next to the one that you've just coloured in. This will give it time to dry and it won't smudge. I coloured in this area in the wrong colour, so I'm going over with the chosen one, and as it's darker, you won't notice. Again, use really soft, light brush strokes. And try and keep going in the same direction. Once these sections are dried, I noticed there was a little bit of bleed around the spots. The great thing about acrylic markers is a light colour will cover up a dark colour. All I'm doing here is just going around the edge of the dots where I've noticed that the darker colour has bled over the lines. Allow the pens to dry completely and then you can add some highlighting. These Posca pens are my absolute favourite. When you get them home, you do need to charge them up by shaking them, but be careful, make sure that you keep the lid on while you're doing this. Then you press the nib down and the colour will come towards the end of the tip. I like to have a piece of card that I can test the pen out first. Sometimes you'll find that when you press down on the nib, you get a really big blob. And by testing on a piece of card first, you can check that when you add it onto the MDF shape, it's going to be the size that you want it. Here I'm adding highlights to the spots on the hat. I'm drawing a little curve in each of the spots and it makes it look very slightly 3D. These pens can also be used to colour in as a white. You may need to do a few layers to get the depth of colour. I drew a little arc on his nose and then a dot dot dash is great for highlighting. Do dot 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 dash at the edge or around the shape. You can also draw little lines. So here I'm drawing his fingers in. And again, I'm back to the dot dot dash. And I think these make them look quite cartoon-like. Take your time here and keep looking at your shape to see if you need to do any more. Add some more highlights if you want. And I thought that the heart looked quite plain. So I'm going to add some circles and little dots to the heart just to bring that to life. It's really worth adding the white because we've turned a very flat shape into a three-dimensional image. Even though these shapes are all gnomes, they look very different. Each one of them is carrying a different object, which does help, but the way that you colour them in really makes them unique. In this one, he was carrying a star, but I thought he actually looked like a gingerbread man, so that makes a great Christmas decoration. As you can see, they all look really different. There are lots of shapes to choose from, and you can personalise them to your own colour scheme.